She helps people. I do the same thing. I just do it on the ground.
And you've been with Oprah for a long time. And I think that relationships are difficult.
Reason why is because they gathered so much evidence. Was supposedly they gathered so many videos and laptops and also electronic devices.
In your head, Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, best friend forever.
Yes,
Yeah.
her man, Stedman Graham, wrote a book called Identity Leadership.
Okay.
And in the book, he reveals some of his secrets about the 30-year relationship he's had with...
This is the funniest thing, guys. You all know Stedman is really big.
You mentioned, that you've been with Oprah for a long time now.
Met a long time ago. She says this sometimes.
Girl, you won't believe the tea. Oprah is in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. And it's all because of Stedman Graham. He's always been her quiet support, but now he's reportedly spilled some shocking secrets that have Oprah shaken. After years of standing in the background, Stedman's revelations are so dramatic they might change everything. What could he have said that's got the queen of daytime TV rattled? This gossip is about to blow up. Stay tuned.
Yes, her man, Stedman Graham, wrote a book called Identity Leadership.
Okay.
And in the book, he reveals some of his secrets about the 30-year relationship he's had with Oprah.
All right.
And in Hollywood, a 30-year relationship, that's like a couple of lifetimes.
They're not married.
Especially with someone as powerful as Oprah.
Yes.
So he goes on to say, the thing about our relationship is I want the best for her. So I'm dedicated to her happiness. So that's great for her, and I want her to be the best she can possibly be, and she's done a pretty good job of doing it.
You hear that, Frank? You hear that? That's how you're supposed to talk to a significant other or a spouse. You want what's best for her. You want her to be happy.
That is wonderful, Stedman, but this is so passive-aggressive because then he goes on to say this. For me, I've been able to find my own happiness. Like, nobody's helping him find his happiness. He's helping Oprah find all hers. He's finding his own happiness.
You're reading into that.
No. He goes on. For me, I've been able to find my own happiness and develop my own skills, my own talents, my own abilities, and I'm satisfied with that. So the combination, when you have a good partner that's able to self-actualize their potential and you're able to self-actualize yours, 1 and 1 equals about 6. The only thing you don't see there are the tears on the paper.
It sounds like Oprah's absence made him stronger.
Or maybe to make him happy, she gets home from her powerful day and looks at him and goes, "You get a beat."
Girl, the tea is piping hot. Stedman Graham, Oprah's longtime man, just decided to spill some serious beans on national TV. Can you believe it? This is the same guy who's been quieter than a mouse for ages. And now he's dropping bombshells. So he shows up on this late-night talk show, looking all dapper and mysterious. The host asks him the usual boring questions about his life with Oprah, but then it takes a wild turn. Stedman claims that living with Oprah feels like being in a circus. He's out here saying it's tough being with someone always in the spotlight, like he's just a prop in her show. And it gets even juicier. He reveals how Oprah is always working and glued to her phone, planning her next big project. He loves her, but he's honestly wondering if she even notices he's there. I was clutching my pearls, girl.
Knowing how it can empower you and your ideas and where you're going and who you want to become and not be stuck in just thinking that you're all of that. You know, and you're not, because once you stop playing ball, really not that many people care.
Right.
So you got to make it work for you, and that's what social media should be doing for everybody, is making it work for you, as opposed to, again, the reverse.
So you also wrote Teens Can Make It Happen, 9 Steps to Success. How does the concept of identity differ for this younger demographic?
Well, that's a great question. Again, I go back to how we learn. I'm trying to get a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old young person to understand they have 80 years left. And if they could take those 80 years and learn how to apply everything to what they love and what they're passionate about, what's meaningful in their life, that they really have an opportunity to improve. I mean, you're going to really be successful if you're a better person today than you were yesterday, and you just keep growing and you're learning and you're a lifelong learner and you're a reader. You keep reading all the time and you're focusing on setting goals and you understand the process of success and how it works, and you're focusing on what you love. And you tie that to business, and you tie that to social media, and you tie that to all those things that will empower you based on what's possible for you, and you have access to a global marketplace. And everything you learn from now on, you can begin to organize it through a cognitive ability to be able to download content that's relevant to your talents, to your skills, and to your passion. If I can get you to understand that at 10 or 11, man, that's a pretty good process for building and designing your own future.
Yeah, I mean, changing the trajectory of someone's life at that age, I mean, you can't put a price on that. I mean, it's like you said, it changes them forever and can benefit them greatly.
Yeah, and the process works, especially for, some athletes who are young. They start at what, 6, 5, and 4, and they learn the process of how it works.
Yeah.
And by the time they get 11 or 12, they're like killing them.
Yeah.
And that's when so it's the same process for me as trying to get young people to understand their empowerment at an early age.
So similar question to sports, these young people now, I mean, I couldn't imagine kind of growing up with social media the way it is now back when I was a kid or a teen. Kind of similar question that we did for the athletes. How do these young people deal with social media when they can't necessarily start a business or use it for work?
Well, I think they have to. It's tough. It's a very difficult thing when you're dealing with social media and you don't know what it does, or the purpose of it, or how it affects you, and the algorithms are set up and designed to hook you, and all of that. So I think you just have to. Well, hopefully you have good parents who understand, how to monitor some of that. But again, it is a valuable tool because it has so much information. Again, I go back to not everybody's going to get this, but making sure you understand who you are so you can apply the information to your development and create something that you can control as opposed to it controlling you. And so that's an awareness process, That's raising people's consciousness about that, which we're trying to do in schools. And in students we do. I mean, we have a program in Mississippi that we're working on, and man, those young people they're in STEM programs, and they're smart. And boy, to be able to eliminate all the labels that they have to deal with, I mean, through this process of identity and understanding who you are, it's just really so rewarding to see them, the light bulb go off, and not be defined by their parents and not be defined by their circumstances, which can be very difficult for them sometimes.
Yeah, and that kind of answers the second question as well about, how do you educate parents and educators in order to help children, think more about identity versus...
Well, you have to have curriculum, and so you have to have the books and the content, the materials and everything else. And then we set it up as a train-the-trainer program.
So there are projects in there that you're doing. And
yeah. It's the execution of this work that you spend a lot of time on. How do you actually get it into a system that you can deliver to these schools and organizations, anywhere.
So another great sports kind of reference right here: move without the ball, put your skills and your magic to work for you. The title itself, Move Without the Ball, it signifies being proactive when, the spotlight isn't necessarily on you. Can you share a personal anecdote where you felt you were without the ball and in life, and how you positioned yourself strategically in order to get out of it?
Well, I think when you stop playing, you're, first of all, as a ball player, you're used to people cheering you all the time, and you're spoiled and all of that. And so, man, move without the ball for me is going into the service, man, and having to clean latrines and, with a toothbrush and all of that, and really getting down and dirty around what life is could be, and what life was at that particular time. So that was Move Without the Ball for me. Move Without the Ball for me was learning business. Move Without the Ball for me was traveling around, seeing the world. And then the beautiful thing about Move Without the Ball is that you know how to move with the ball, but you also know how to move without the ball. And that really has been my life, is learning how to move without the ball. And that without people, clapping and yelling for you because you're making some baskets, but to be able to be good on the court, but also off the court, you're just as good. So that's my hope and dream. I think that's where Kobe was going, He's trying to be just as good off the court as he was on the court in different fields because he wasn't playing anymore before his unfortunate mishap. So I think that's the key for athletes, because the athletes have it. They have the ability to be able to do that. They can process, they're smart, all that. I don't know if they have the information a lot of times, but certainly they have the wherewithal to make it happen.
And then what's kind of one of the most important ways athletes can maintain a sense of self and maintain a strong identity, while society might only view them through one lens?
Being able to take control of their own development, I would say be a reader, be a learner, try to focus on what you're going to do, not while you're playing, but what you're going to do after you stop playing. Have some game plan. So not just have a game plan for being on the court, being on the field, but have some game plan for when it all ends, which is really the key. So you can leverage, there's a word called leverage. You're leveraging the opportunities that you have while you're playing,
Girl, you thought Stedman spilling the tea was wild. Wait until you hear Oprah's reaction. The queen of daytime TV isn't known for losing her cool, but this time she went off. Picture this.
And structure. I have to force myself to do that.
You also have to live in the moment. So everybody watching this wants Stedman to tell us about his Oprah.
Does she snore? You're the only one that knows the answer to that question.
That's exactly not what I was thinking, but that's a good...
Does she snore, Stedman?
Let me just tell you.
No,
come from Kosciuszko, Mississippi.
That's true.
That's been abused as a child.
Right.
A black woman.
Right.
Who's now a billionaire.
Right.
Self-made. Okay. In this country that is socially constructed, not to exactly celebrate your success. Okay. That's a milestone. And to be a woman on top of that.
Right.
And so, this is a person who's been number one for 25 years. Every book that she put on the show has gone to bestseller. She has her own network. She's from Kosciuszko, Mississippi.
And it was not an easy
And it's not an easy thing. So, and you talk about someone who has talent, skills, and process, and smart. She's been able to put that together to get beyond the labels based on a socially constructed process that tries to keep her down and has kept people down year after year after year after year.
And OWN isn't where it wants to be right now, but I'm not counting her out, and I know neither are you.
No, it's a process. You can't just come in and create an organization or build a company in 6 months.
That's right.
You got to put your voice in it. You got to work on shows. So she'll be fine.
Great to have you here.
As you put in here, progress begins one step at a time.
One step at a time.
So we'll take the first step this morning. Stedman
First
Graham.
step is understand who you...
But here's the real tea. Oprah wasn't just mad, she was hurt. People close to her say she felt betrayed, like Stedman had aired their private life for everyone to see. Oprah likes to keep things private. This isn't the Oprah we're used to, the one who inspires us to rise above. Now everyone's wondering if this is just a stunt for attention. But girl, the pain in her voice and the anger in her eyes seem too real to fake. So what's next for Oprah? Will she spill her own tea on TV? Have a public showdown with Stedman? Or try to pretend it never happened?
able to source the resources of the world through having a vision bigger than your circumstances, okay? To be able to plan it out, work every single day. You got to be a hard worker, okay? To have a strong value system, right? And to be able to focus on those barriers of success that hold you back, building a team, being able to, again, source content by organizing information. You become a reader and creating a lifestyle around that. So, again, I go back to the power versus the powerless. So how are you going to be empowered so that you, outdistance the 99% of the people where are they going? They're not going anywhere. They're stuck. So, it's really about deprogramming yourself and realize, again, I go back to it's not how the world defines you, it's about how you define yourself and being able to work on yourself as a way to establish a privileged life.
So last social media question, I promise, but I thought this was, very applicable to the book of, you mentioned labels are distorting our view of the world and our place in it. And in today's digital age with the prominence of social media, kind of how can we work to move beyond these imposed labels and cultivate authentic self-representation?
I don't know how you do it unless you have an identity.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it unless you're focusing on what you're doing, which is to find out who you are, working on that every day, right? Because it takes a while, and figure out what you do well, and to do it over and over and over to where you become an expert in your field, so that you can outdistance everybody else who are doing what? What are they doing? They're not going anywhere for the most part because they're stuck in a mindset. And so, again, when you start to change the learning system around where everything becomes relevant to building value, then you're not stuck in that box. You're able to not be defined by the labels or how other people see you, but the only thing that's important, because I use this in my own life, not being defined by labels, and people try to put me in a box, and especially me, and in regards to my relationship. And so what I try to do is not worry.
Girl, you thought the drama was over. Honey, it's just getting started. The fallout from Stedman's little confession and Oprah's meltdown is like a tsunami hitting Hollywood, and everyone's getting swept up in it. The media has gone absolutely wild. It's like sharks smelling blood in the water. Every news channel, gossip site, and social media platform is buzzing with this story. They're digging up old interviews, analyzing every word Stedman said, and trying to catch a glimpse of Oprah's reaction.
How do your theories on identity and success apply to couples and relationships where, you can feel comfortable working on your own identity and your own self, but also being a part of a team?
That's beautiful. You said it. So to be able to be comfortable with yourself, be happy with what you do, doesn't have anything to do with somebody else is doing. So you're not jealous, you're not angry, you're not upset because somebody is, more successful than you, or whatever the case may be, because you're happy with yourself. That's what we're talking about.
That makes perfect sense. I think we can all relate to that, right? It's like, no matter where you are or who you're with, there's always some sort of, question of, is that person being their authentic self, and do I want to be in this relationship?
And strength being, only the strong survive. That's I always talk about that in my speeches. But you're strong when you're strong. You're not strong because you want to make yourself be strong. You're strong when you do the work. You're strong when you have a vision that you can apply to your life every day. You're strong when you're focusing on what you do well. You're strong when you focus on love. You're strong when you are when you put the 24 hours of work in, and when you're strong when you organize your life. You're strong when you are able to take information and make it relevant to your development. You're strong when you work on your weaknesses. that's when you're strong. You're not strong because you just want to be strong or just because you think you should be stronger than the other person. So you got to earn the right for that.
Then have there been examples of, and have you used kind of your own principles of identity with?
I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do it or deal with some of the issues I've had to deal with throughout my life without following the 9-step success process. Okay, I follow it. I created it for myself. And what I do is I don't worry about how the world defines me or how other people define me. I work on me.
Yeah.
I develop me so that the more I have, the more I can give. I can contribute more because I'm working on me and building value in my own life. So it's the value you want to build in your own life, not waiting for somebody to give you that or having somebody else determine your value. Create your own, build your own opportunities, source your own talents, find out what you do well and work on it and search for it. And then what will happen, you'll develop this process for continuous improvement. And you'll improve and you'll grow and you'll develop and you'll build and you're pretty much, you're not your circumstances, you are your possibilities because of the work that you put in. It's the work that you do when you work on yourself. So we're just trying to change this around so that you begin to understand the importance of you and how you can be.
The streets are buzzing, girl. Some of Oprah's business partners are getting seriously nervous. They're worried all this drama could tarnish their products. Can you believe it? The Oprah seal of approval used to be like striking gold, but now it might be more like fool's gold. And don't even get me started on Oprah's TV network. They're scrambling like eggs on a hot skillet, trying to figure out how to spin this mess into something positive. But honey, that's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's just not gonna work.
And then what do you think is the most understood aspect of the identity teachings?
Misunderstood?
Yeah.
That it's easy.
Right.
It's an easy process to figure out who you are because it's ongoing. It never ends. You always have to improve it. You always have to, you go one level, another level, another level, another level in that process. So it's not me just saying it. When I just say it, find out what you love. You got to find out what you don't love. You got to find out what you don't want to do. You got to, focus on it. You got to actually do it. You might have to work in it. You have to break the mold. You have to go back to that. You spend years and years, and sometimes, in some cases, you may never find it because you have nobody to actually show you how to actually do it, which is why I do this work, is to show people the process for how it's done so they at least can start. It may take you 15 years to get to the point where you're really happy about the work that you're doing.
Right.
It would take you a long time because you got to, look at the work that you do. You got to break this stuff down. This stuff is not easy. Nothing easy about that. You got to show up every day. You got to have a routine. You got to go to meetings. You got to be able to, be creative. You got to have a team to do that. A lot of times, you don't have the wherewithal to have all of that. So you got to build up to that. You got to work on a job you might hate. There's a lot of different pieces, and now you got to deal with social media. You got to deal with all the external world. You got to deal with, work-life balance. You got to deal with family. You got to deal with all of that, and you got to be able to balance all of that.
And because identity is such a personal, introspective journey, how do you see it functioning in the context of societal changes and society as a whole?
It's a lonely place. Because, you got 99% of the people who pretty much don't have one. And, or they don't really understand the value, or they haven't started working on one, I should say. And so you're like in the minority. You're like a, outside force. And it's lonely at the top, when you're, organizing yourself around people who are thinkers, who are doers, who want to make it happen, who are independent in their development and all of that. So it's not a crowded field for the most part. So when you begin to produce and organize your own thoughts, and folks are out there playing softball and hanging out at the beach, and you're working.
Yeah.
And when are you working? Will Melman, you're working 24/7 every day.
Definitely.
And you're thinking about it all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so that's you got to give up a lot. Sometimes you got to give up your friends and folks and all of that, but it's worthwhile because you control your own destiny. You can create your own opportunities.
Yeah, and then it, like you said, it creates that feeling of empowerment and confidence and fulfillment. So let's say, maybe you missed that dinner with the folks, but you go the next time and you have more to talk about and you're excited and you show up more positive because you were working on something you loved. Right?
There you go. That's it. That's the freedom everybody wants. And everybody, that's why people are working they want to work at home. Because when they got a taste of working at home, this is what it's like. I can work at home. I can go outside. I can take a break. I can, do some of the things I want. And they don't want to go back in the office.
Right.
So that's the freedom we're talking about, is that we have the ability to be able to decide our own schedule and do some of the things we want to do when we want to do them. And that's the freedom that you get. Now, you're going to work at it. You're going to work for that because you got to eat what you kill.
Right.
And so that's a whole nother ball game.
So you mentioned, that you've been with Oprah for a long time now.
Yeah.
When did you guys first meet?
Wow, we met a long time ago. She says this sometime, a long time ago. And we met at a charity. I knew her 2 years before we actually started going out. And we met over this gentleman's house named Max Robinson, who was an anchor back in the day. And so, we've been together for a long time. It's been great. I mean, I'm so lucky and very fortunate to have a great partner. It's not been easy, which the relationships aren't always easy, but it's been, I'm so grateful and thankful that I have somebody who is just a dynamic and wonderful person and who's extraordinary.
That's amazing. That's what we all, wish for and hope for sure, is finding that life partner. And yeah.
It's amazing. And she is, I look at what she's done and who she is, and I can't even believe, what she's done, and it just, extraordinary to watch.
Larger than life, right? It's
incredible mind, beautiful woman. Just, nice to everybody, humble, humility, that kind of thing. So just really, really strong all the way around.
Yeah, it's incredible. So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your writing process as an aspiring writer. Do you spend a lot of time on the outline phase? Do you like to just jump into it? What's your writing process?
Well, my writing process is I come up with ideas and I write a lot. And then I may come up with an idea, and what I try to do is solve problems through solutions, of course, and through my writing. I'm kind of in the self-help industry. I'm now in the identity industry. So, I do a lot of writing around that and research around that. And then I have someone help me. I can't do all of the writing myself. And so that works out really well. And then you want to build a team, and now I have instructional designers who help and all of that. But basically I drive it for the most part and drive the content and all of that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's, having so many books out and doing it for so long. It's obviously impressive is an understatement, but,
it's hard writing a book.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about writing a book. So it takes a team of people, and I'm fortunate to have a great agent, and, I've had, great publishers, and a team of folks who help. And so again, it's a process. I can't even believe that I'm still in the game. Still writing and still speaking, and we just kind of really are just starting. And the identity work, after 30 years of working to try to build this thing, we're just starting to build these systems where we can deliver this content pretty much anywhere in the world. Now we have the internet.
Girl, you thought the tea was hot before, but now it's about to get scorching. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, wondering what's next for Oprah and Stedman after this drama. Are they going to kiss and make up, or is this the end of their fairy tale? The streets are buzzing that Oprah might be considering kicking Stedman to the curb. But let's be real, it ain't that simple.
These workshops, because we could go deeper and dive deeper in the content. It's more interactive. It's probably about 2 hours, 3 hours. We can do that, a full program pretty much, and people really love that. They get a lot out of that.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, reaching a lot of people, and it seems it would be more impactful or just as impactful as them reading a book, but seeing you live and really kind of feeling the energy, because I saw Eckhart and Deepak at USC, and it was like a life-changing experience. And I guess it is a little different because the book, you get more information, but from the speaking, it's like more impactful, if that makes sense.
There's a connection there.
Yeah.
So I love to speak, and then I do a book signing, and we have the books, and now we're building the courses out. So it's a kind of a building an ecosystem around the work, and so it's very, very exciting. I mean, I love the work. I'm passionate about the work, and so it makes it. And now, again, we have such a great opportunity with the internet and all of that to be able to deliver content anywhere in the world. So it's a beautiful process.
And the only reason I brought up the corporate stuff is I think it's so interesting that you've created a system that similarly can help, younger kids to the, most powerful corporate CEO, but it's a very similar system that just applies broadly to all humans, as something that's so core to our development.
You have to know who you are at all levels, and the younger you know, the more opportunities you'll have for yourself. So what we try to do is get people to raise their consciousness about what's possible for them, and we want them to perform at the highest possible level. So how do you become really great at what you do? How do you become good at what you do? How do you perform all the time in every part of your life? Which is important for managers and CEOs and teams and employees, because you got to be today a self-starter and a self-directed learner. People don't have time to watch you. So what we try to do is get people to be engaged in their own life and their own development and be present where they are, so that they have the ability to be able to create a great organization because they're great and they're good.
That's powerful. What's next for you? What are you working on coming up?
Well, what's next for me is I've been in development for all of these years building this. What's next for me to be able to actually do this work and be more in the world. And I've been back and forth a little bit, but we're kind of developing a technology team around, the work. We're developing teams of people around production, and, now we have a worldwide market, different cultures, all of that. So to be able to deliver, the content is what's next, and we keep building that and building that and building that, and so that feels really good right now to be able to be in that position to do it. Still a lot of work, but at least we kind of have the roadmap for where we're going. That's what's exciting.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to all of it.
I appreciate your support and appreciate you having me. And man, you're doing a great job, and you look fantastic. And, congratulations on the work that you do.